Welcome to Projects for All. My name's Mike, and today we got MasterForce's big old 15 amp, 10-inch table saw in the shop. We're gonna do all the assembly, all the calibrations today. We're gonna do a second video with the walk around like we always do and with all the cutting. So let's get in here. We'll be as thorough as we can be because there are no videos on this saw currently that I could find. Let's check it out. If you watch me at all, you would have seen that I referenced this saw in the Cobalt video a few times because this saw and the Cobalt both have very similar parts. I think what we were looking at is off-the-shelf stock parts that multiple companies are using. This looks exactly like the Cobalt. It's got the same hardware. Here's your handles, rear outfeed, ready to go. Big old giant wheels, these look nice. We got our hardware kit. I like when they put these things together. I'm gonna tell you right now, this looks a lot like the Cobalt. The Cobalt had, if you watch that video, had a mismachined or miscast miter slot. So let's pray that this one's good. But I think we're gonna get a chance to look kind of at the same saw twice with this a little bit. Yeah, a couple more things underneath the saw, including this, whatever it is. I'm at a total loss. We're gonna find out. Also, we have our miter gauge, which is terrible. Of course, expect nothing less. All right, a lot of this is similar to the Cobalt. We're gonna start with this one. This is not the order that the instructions tell you to go, but there are a couple tubes where you only do attach something to the tube. There's two steps like that. They're in the middle of the instructions, but we're gonna do them now, and then we'll get the saw up here, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier to watch and understand. So you got this and these two bolts in the same bag. You're gonna put your latch on your pedal. So this one is gonna go on the hole on this little pedal here. And then there's a hole here for the longer bolt, and it's gonna be the slide for that. We go bolt on the outside, nut on the inside. A little hard to get to, shouldn't be too bad. You don't want to over tighten this obviously because it needs to pivot. There we go. Next up we have this tube here with that bracket right there. So all we're gonna do is install this one up here. It's got holes on the back side here. We got some Allen screws, and we're just going to remove these, drop that on there, and screw this part down. Fits right on there, nice and easy. Fit and finish of the stand is pretty impressive. I mean, most of them have to be tweaked and bent a little bit to get them to work. 5mm Allen, we'll tighten them down. Same tube here, we got our feet, 13mm. All the nuts on this have the nylon inserts, which is awesome. So no lock washers, no BS. On this, these are just gonna go in the hole here. The ones on the bend here are already pre-installed. Now that we're done with this simple stuff, we can go get our saw and start assembling on our saw. These don't need to be adjustable, so just tighten them on down. Since we're up under here, we might as well have a look at what we got going on. Got plastic gears for your height adjust. Seems smooth. Plastic housing. You got a metal housing for the bottom of your blade. This clearly mounts to the metal. Got some plastic. This one looks like it has, look at that, little trap door. So if you drop something down in there, you got a thumb screw to get you in a little access to grab something out of there you might drop. That's nice. It's a nice feature, I like it. There's your mounting point for your rear outfeed. There's one on the other side over there too. And then just to make it easy, you have the two Allen screws, two front, two back, and that's to adjust your blade parallel to your miter slot. But we'll get to that. I figure we're under here. We might as well have a look. Not bad so far. You got your frame bolted directly to the bottom of your tabletop. Interesting enough, there's no feet on this one, and this extends up over this tube right here. So this saw was never meant to be used without the stand. Most of them have feet and the feet bolt to the stand. This one has the stand all integrated in it. It is meant to be used with the stand only. The bulk of the hardware you're gonna have to install is this. You got a 13 mil nut on a 13 mil bolt. And this is the spacer that goes between the tubes. It fits into itself and pivots. This is a super nice design. It looks very finished. It pivots and flexes the way it should. Same as the Cobalt, good design. I like that a lot. First tube we're gonna install, this one, with this bar installed. These holes here correspond with these holes here, front and back. And this one's just gonna install there and pivot. So we go bolt, spacer. There we go. And we'll do the back one the same way. This one's got very short threaded area on this bolt. Let's see if we can slam this home and if it'll just bottom out and still have the proper amount of space to flex. Obviously, you're not going to want to use any kind of power tool for this, but perfect. Look at that, it bottomed out and we're perfectly adjusted the way we should be. That's nice. Next up, we got the tube with the latch and your axles. We have the first tube here. These holes on this tube that's already attached are going to correspond with these, and we're going to install it just like that. This is the first tube we installed, and here's the one I just installed now. Make sure it's the top hole on this one, not the one on the bend. The second side with the spacers is not always the easiest to do. There we go. We're going to take the big hoop with these feet we installed. We're going to slide it along this tube on the outsides of the saw. The end holes are going to correspond with these holes here. It has the latch and this little tab that's welded to it. It's going to fit right there, and that's going to be a perfect lineup right there. This is essentially the same stand as the Cobalt. The real difference here is the order in which you install everything, and also the instructions are so much clearer and well written. The Cobalt did this all with what would be essentially engineering drawings that have been labeled, and it is very hard to understand. This saw came with a properly written manual. Amazing what a difference. This is the MasterForce. There are the instructions. Pretty simple and easy to see and understand. Here is essentially the same product, and here's the Cobalt. Very hard to figure out. This one here, this operation is basically just this part right here. They could have just blown it up to that. So I'm gonna use the same trick I used. We're gonna put this under the hoop like that to lift it up just a little bit. And then this hole here, this hole is gonna correspond with this hole, both sides. And we're gonna line those two up, get our spacer in there. This one started, and I'm gonna move that out of there. By this point, we're already pretty much assembled, so we can lock it in the upright position. Beautiful. Let's get our big wheels on and our handles, and we're all done. 16 mil on our axles. This is obviously the outside. There's the inside. Nice big wheels. Be able to pull this around in the yard or whatever you need to do with it. Obviously, we don't want to over tighten this too much, so. Pretty much the last step besides the outfeed. There's a hole on the end of this tube here, and these are the handles. Came with the bolt already installed. You have to unscrew the little stop screws at the end of your outfeed. But mine are stripped in, as in they wouldn't unscrew. I couldn't get the screw out of that. I had to shove a screwdriver in the end. That was both of them. Push from the bottom while you unscrew. Not easy to hold still and film at the same time. Oddly enough, there's threaded holes on the other side too, so don't know why, but we can always just try and screw these into the other side, I guess. So one screw went back in too hard, the other one went in too easy. If you're worried about it, since the end of the tube's open, you can always put a drop of Loctite right on it after it's in there. Very nice though, like that. Knobs lock it down. You obviously don't need to have these as loose as I had them. There you go, nice and tight. It's a very nice stand. Press the lever, push down. Takes zero effort to unlock this. You can still move it around. Those giant wheels, it's real easy to move around. Very nice. Let's hope the quality is up to par. I'd really love to be able to recommend this one. It's a pretty cool saw for the money. So we got our master plate installed. This is 6 inches span here. I would rather mount this the long way. With the Cobalt, I put the front washer I put on the back side so we get past the riving knife, and we had it this way. I decided I don't like that. I would rather have the washer on this side and it mounted just the way you would a regular blade. This is probably plus or minus 2 thou, the accuracy of this little gauge. You can see when I touch it, you can just throw it right off. Here we go. We're about 1 thou off. It does move up about, if you watch it, it deviates by about 3. I suspect it's in the miter slot because I've been using this plate for every saw we've done since we got this gauge, and I trust this plate. This plate shows straight, and I don't see that kind of weird deviation very often, but in the end, this saw is accurate to about 1 thou. This is just the old 2-wrench system to get this on and off. Works good. This is what we use to do this measurement. I've been real happy with this. We've been using the snot out of this thing. I bought this with my own money. US veteran-made master gauge. I'm very impressed. Comes with a lot of useful information, documentation. We also use Woodpecker's saw gauge. This is the first edition version. They make one that's longer, and I believe they have a newer one out now. Unlike the Cobalt, there is no machining error in the slot. This is nice and smooth. Always tough to show, but this riving knife has no adjustment that I can tell. There's no screws, no set screws, no nothing. This hole here is for the detent, for the rod that rides in. That's it. This riving knife, however, is just about as straight as you get. It lines up right between the carbide tips, and this is all the way up position. No adjustment found, but no adjustment needed, at least not yet. Throat plate actually fits nice. Locks down and a little low in the front, but doesn't stick up anywhere, and could use just a little adjustment. You get 4 adjusting screws. Here's our fence measurement. We're on 0. We go in one direction about 6 thou, and then we come back to 0, and by the time we get to the end, we're about 5 thou off in the opposite direction. So about 5 thou worth of waviness in this fence, but 5 thou I think I can live with. Back to 0. So how flat is the table? It's always a good question. Here's 20 thou. That's where we topped out with the Cobalt. 20 thou right there. 20 thou there. Across the front. A little bit. Over here. Nope. On the wings. No. We are scratching this table too. It's not quite as bad as the Cobalt, but maybe I'm being a little more careful. Right here, no, 20 thou doesn't work. On this side it does, just on the inside there. This is a little bit better than the Cobalt was. Got 15. 15 thou, all over the place. Not amazing, by any means not amazing. I would say 8 to 12 is about average for one of these job site saws. Here's 15, 8, all over the place. This is 8 to 10 all over the place, 15 here, 20 there. Below average for even a job site saw of the ones I've tested. First turn on for this saw. Microphone is 30 inches from the blade as always. Wow, soft start and very quiet for a job site saw. I'm impressed. Much more comfortable to listen to than almost all the job site saws. Some of these things are seriously loud. Below 90 decibels is very good for a job site saw. So we're gonna end this one right here. This is oddly fascinating to me, at least. This saw is basically the Cobalt, or it has a lot of the same components as the Cobalt, but a lot of it's different. And everything that's different seems to be a little better quality than the Cobalt. Now, this isn't much different price-wise. I think it's like $430 or so. Once you get the rebate, then you're down like $375 or so. So it's very similarly priced to the Cobalt, but it comes with an outfeed. It has an oddly quieter motor. With the soft start, it has the same nice stand, but it comes with the bigger wheels. It has a completely different style fence, which we're gonna look at in the next video. And this saw is not bad. I wish the table was flatter. I wish, but it's not. It's 20 thou or so. You want this saw, you're gonna have to deal with that. Same as the Cobalt. It has 0 internet presence. There are 0 videos on it. Menards doesn't allow reviews on the website, so I have no one's opinion to go by. This one's kind of fascinating. I get a kick out of this weird stuff, and maybe you guys do too. You let me know in the comments. Tell me what you think, because we got an oddball for sure. Thank you so much for watching. If you are inclined, hit subscribe, because that helps me pay for all this expensive stuff. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.